So you want to be a photographer. But first, you have to find out what type of photographer you want to be. I'm Desu of Desu Photography, and we're going to go over a few things that you need to know before you take this journey.
Hey yo, having my way with this shit, having my way with this shit. No.
Well, first, let me explain. I've been a photographer for over 30 years, 35 pretty much. Professionally, 30 years. And we're talking back from the days of film, right? Where you had to get it right the first time. It's not in the digital age where you could look at the picture behind the camera and be able to know what you need to do as far as changing the aperture, ISO, and the shutter speed and stuff like that. I go back many years back where you didn't even know until a week later what you got. So, you want to be a photographer. There's a few things that you first need to understand before you take on this journey, because it's not an easy road. So first you need to find out what type of photographer you want to be. Now, in photography, there's a few aspects. You could be either portrait, fashion, concept photographer, event photographer, or maybe just landscape, right? Now, first you need to understand something. One thing that I'm big on in photography is that you have to be impressionable. You have to be a people person if you're going to deal with the public, right? So if you find out that you're not that comfortable around the public, it's best that you try not to be that type of photographer right off, because you could learn this process as you go on. You could become more familiar with people and get more comfortable with people, or being around people and being able to make them laugh. Because one thing in photography is that you have to make people comfortable. And if they're not comfortable, then it's gonna show in the pictures, right? So what you have to do is be able to be spot on, right in the moment, laugh, joke, make short little comments and stuff to make people feel comfortable. Because if they're not comfortable, then they don't want to take a picture. So, and you'll see it in the picture that they don't, but if they're laughing and they're comfortable and you approach with this camera, and one thing that you shouldn't make a mistake of, once you have that camera in your hand, you're very powerful. That camera brings a lot of weight and it brings a lot of security to people that this is what you do and this is what you're coming for. So if you bring that smile on your face, then they know you're not a threat. So the camera brings a lot of power. You have to learn how to be comfortable around people if you're going to be an event photographer. Now, if you're not really that comfortable around people, then I would suggest maybe being a portrait photographer, where you could deal with people one-on-one. You could be a landscape photographer, where you go out and catch sunrises and beautiful. There's a lot of photographers that's all they do. They love the solitude of their self. They love being by themselves and in nature, and you could bridge the two. If you're a fisherman, or if you're a person that like to go trail walking or camping and stuff, you like the great outdoors, then you could go out, take the camera with you, and the camera will be an excuse for you to be outside, right? So you'll go out, you'll do what you have to do, and then you'll be capturing these beautiful pictures that you could do things with. You could enlarge, you could impress people, your family, friends, and maybe do some gallery showings, right? That's if you're that type of person that's not too comfortable with people. If you are comfortable with people, by all means, event photography, weddings, corporate events like that, because you're going to deal with a lot of people on a large scale. But just know the type of person that you are. Because a lot of times what we do is we look at other photographers and we like what they're doing, and we think that's for us. It may not be for you. You have to first recognize that what type of person you are and what you're comfortable with. And if you're comfortable with it, because I don't want you to pick up the camera and think that you could be this type of photographer and you're not comfortable, but the main reason you're not comfortable is because of the type of person you are. You're trying to fit yourself into someone else's shoes, and you're not comfortable. When in all actuality, you should be doing something else in photography. Now, if you don't like large group of people, you like dealing with people one-on-one, get a model. It's just you one-on-one. You build a rapport with one person at a time. You go ahead and y'all go out on a photo session and y'all take beautiful pictures. And you may like that and the things that you do, and you build on that and build on the fact that you're creating something with this person. And that's pretty much how I started. One-on-one, I grew into larger events and dealing with a lot. I was a very shy kid, so dealing with one-on-one with a model, that was me. That was my game. Dealing with them and just coming up with concepts, and that's another aspect between fashion photography. You can have concepts. If you have that creative mind where you could say, wrap a female in newspaper and do some type of concept like that, or something crazy, and you're dealing with lighting situations and stuff like that. If that's your bag and you know you're creative like that, deal one-on-one with a model and go out and make it happen. But first you have to realize who you are as a person, right? So go ahead and go out, do what you have to do in that aspect as far as dealing with concepts. If you're creative, one-on-one. If you're not that comfortable around people, do bigger corporate things, do weddings, go after events, you know, where you have to socialize with people and make people feel comfortable and take their picture. I get great joy in that now. I didn't years ago, but I do now. So just first realize what it is that you want and how you gotta build on your interpersonal skills, build that confidence in yourself, you know pretty much learn a lot about your equipment. Know what your equipment does and how it does it, so you can be able to, you know, circumvent on the spot and be able to respond, you know, changing apertures and shutter speeds and ISOs right on the spot, and know what you're looking at and know how to change it. But we'll get into that later. But right now, I just want you to be comfortable with who you are in front of the camera before you take this journey. But there's a space for everybody in photography, and just trust your nature. Trust what it is that you first need to know yourself, and trust the process. It doesn't happen overnight. So just keep pushing, keep moving, and I'll be here for advice. I have another episode that's going to come up after this, but in the meantime, y'all stay tuned.